Hey there, welcome back to DTV. There's this piece of networking wisdom that's getting passed around, and if you follow it, you are totally gonna get shafted in your career. I'm gonna tell you what it is, I'm gonna tell you why it's wrong, and I'm gonna tell you what you should do instead. So here's the fallacy. Professional networking events are a waste of time. I've come across this idea in a number of online articles recently. Some of these articles, by the way, are even written by people who write networking books. And as somebody who writes networking books, shame on you guys. But this is one of those pieces of advice that feels right because we want it to be right. Most of us don't like going to the random networking events and playing the pass out a business card really fast game. And that's understandable. And so when somebody does come along and say, you don't have to go to any networking events at all, and you can still have a lot of success with your networking, it just feels good. And so we're like, yes, that has to be right. But this is just buying into the old stereotypes of what networking is and what networking events should be. If your idea of networking is just going to an event, passing out a bunch of business cards and expecting business to just come to you, then yes, events are a waste of your time because you're not approaching them right. You might as well stay home. But one of the most important things you can do to have a robust network is introduce weak connections into your network. These are connections with people that you know, but don't know really well, people that you don't see all of the time. Those weak connections have access to spheres of information and influence that you're only tangentially related to, and that's where opportunities tend to come from. Understand that networking events aren't networking, but they're often the first step in establishing those weak connections. So yes, networking events are an important strategy and should be a piece of your networking plan, but that doesn't mean you have to go to every event and just shill out business cards left and right. Here are 3 ways that you can actually make the events you go to much more effective. First, be selective with the events you should go to. Just because I'm saying you should go to networking events doesn't mean I'm saying you should go to every possible networking event you can. I don't think you should go to an event just because it's there. Think of the ideal connection you would like to make, the ideal person that you'd like to connect with, and then figure out where those people go and spend time in those venues. The second thing you should do is find out about the people you meet. There is no prize awarded for passing out or collecting the most business cards. When you do meet somebody at a networking event, take a few moments to get to know the person. Ask some questions. Ask some follow-up questions. Get a chance to actually know the person. At a minimum, try to spend as much time listening as you do talking. The final idea, follow up, follow up, follow up. Here's where the naysayers are correct. If you think networking events are just about that business card exchange and then something happening from that, nothing's going to happen just from passing a business card. Here's the way that I look at networking events. It's like going to a singles bar or a party if you're single and looking for a relationship. If you came home from a singles event and told your friends, that was a bust, I didn't get married, they look at you like you're crazy, because the whole point of that event is simply to meet people who you can then go and date and start a relationship with. It's the same thing with networking events. The goal is to start the relationship and then follow up afterwards. So make sure you're following up, whether that's by phone, by email, through LinkedIn or social media, setting up a follow-up lunch date, but it's in the follow-up where the networking event really has the payoff. So those are 3 ways that you can make the events you go to a little more effective and productive, and hopefully also a little less stressful. Tell me how you make the networking events you go to a little less painful down in the comments, or even hit me up on Twitter at dfishrockstar. To make sure that we keep having events together, hit the subscribe button. It'll make sure that you keep getting the good stuff, and it'll give me a little hit of validation. And I'll see you next time on DTV.